Hi guys, and welcome back to Project 40. In the last episode, we finally got this car clean. It really needed it, and it actually has come up pretty well, all things considering. Don't forget, this car has had 10 previous owners, and not many that have actually looked after it. So the bodywork actually doesn't look too bad, all things considered. And this car is almost ready for Festival Italia, or at least it was up until last weekend, where I actually got a check engine light. Now, what we're going to do today is actually look at the codes and see what we're dealing with. So I've not driven the car since that check engine light came on. Maybe leaving the car off for a few days has made it go away. Let's find out. That would be a no. As you can see here, we have a check engine light. The car is running slightly lumpy. Okay, let's connect our code scanner and see what's what. So the ODB2 port is behind this thing here. Luckily there's two just plastic screws, so we can just turn them and get it unlocked with our comedy sized screwdriver, which was the first one I managed to pick. And then right about there is our ODB sensor. So connector, I mean. So we connect that up, let's pull the codes and see what we can find. So this is an ELM 327 that I used for a lot of my other cars. This should still work with the Punto, hopefully. And what I like about this is theoretically I could leave this permanently connected because it only draws power once the ignition is on, and there's enough space here to actually leave it in, which I think is pretty cool. But let's see what codes come up. So all we need to do now, the ignition is on, we just need to connect to the code scanner, tell it to read the codes, and then ultimately let's see what we're dealing with. Alright, so we've got our codes. Okay, one of them is an oxygen sensor. Now, bank 1, 2, that means that it's the cylinders 3 and 4, because for some reason on the HGT, this car has not 1, not 2, but actually 3 oxygen sensors. So it has one on for cylinders 1 and 2, another one for cylinders 3 and 4, and then one after the catalytic converter on the exhaust. That seems a bit excessive. Normally I'd expect 1 or 2 sensors, but apparently 3 is the lucky number. So because it's bank 2, that means it's going to be, I think, cylinders 3 and 4, which is good because it's reasonably easy to get to. The post-cat one is all right to get to, but the actual cable length is about 1 meter, so it has to be routed in some bizarre way that I don't know where that goes from research. So this is probably the most quote-unquote convenient location for the sensor to be. But also, looking at some of the other codes, there's some that are about things like camshaft position and all that sort of stuff, and maybe that's because the variator, I hope, like this one, P1653, power steering output malfunction, cams off position, phase regulation, phase variator. Maybe that's to do with the old Duff one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clear all the codes and then see which ones pop back up, because some of these just could be really historic ones, particularly if the timing was out because of the old timing belt and the old cam variator, etc., etc. So maybe only 1 or 2 of these will come back. So let's give this a clear and see if that gets rid of all our problems. So if we turn the car off and we turn the car on again, I guess what we'll probably need to do is go for a drive and see if anything comes back up. But automatically, this is feeling a lot healthier. There was a little bit of a stumble, so I guess what I'll do is get some cameras hooked up, and then we can go see if this actually returns or not. Fingers crossed this gets rid of the issue, because that would be really quite sweet if that was the case. I mean, I'd already ordered an O2 sensor because I kind of assumed when the check engine light came on and the actual engine mostly felt fine, I kind of assumed that it probably was an O2 sensor. They all look to be stock, so it doesn't surprise me that they are on the way out. They are essentially a wear item. They're about sort of 60,000 miles. This is done 73,000, so that doesn't surprise me. You know, and if it is an O2 sensor, that's great. That's a reasonably easy, fingers crossed, easy thing to change. All right, now we've finally got some sun. It's time to actually change that O2 sensor. So I managed to get a new one from Euro Car Parts for like, I don't know, 50 quid. And so it's just a case of taking off this old one, which looks to be original. Somehow I'm going to have to try and get something on it. I may have to end up cutting off the connector to actually be able to get anything on it, 'cause I'm not too sure if I'm able to get a socket on it. I had to have a look underneath, and then just find out where it connects, which I believe is this one here, and then we're all good. So I think quickly I'm going to have a look underneath and see what access is like. Oh yeah, living the dream here. Alright, so I might be able to get a spanner on it. I think lifting the car is probably going to be the easiest thing to do. Hey. So we just need to undo this clip up top. So there's a clip there. Should be just a case of disconnecting it. I've disconnected it from the top, but this plug, there we go. So that's that disconnected. So I just need to then figure out where this is threaded through. That's something I'm going to need to take a look at, because that was all clean a couple of weeks ago. So that means there's probably quite an oil leak from probably this seal here. And figure out the cost of getting that done. It's hard to it's hard to do some of these things one-handed. So that should just clip on. Awesome. All right. Okay, let's get this tied back in. Tied back in, screw put in. Let's just put it in. Clang. Right, there we are. Ow. It certainly screws on a lot easier than it undid, because I guess that thread must have been. That's finger tight right now. That's there. That goes there, I hope. Cable away from the thing, because that's going to melt. Glamorous life, this. Let's give that a try. So the next thing is probably to clear the diagnostic codes. I guess let's read what the current ones are. Okay, so obviously it's still showing the older O2 sensor fault. So what we'll do is let's clear all of them. So then I think the next thing is take it for a drive, see if anything crops up, see if any codes pop up after that drive, see how it feels, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we're going to be in a good shape for Festival Italia on Sunday. Whew. It is hot today, I can tell you that right now. I really do wish I had air conditioning, because well, I do have air conditioning, it just doesn't work, or it doesn't have any gas or something, I'm not sure. But safe to say, I'm going to be sweating hard on this video. Sweaty. All right, we are 5 minutes down the road. So far, no check engine lights, which is good. One thing I'll probably need to do is just tighten up the O2 sensor after I've driven for a while, because I'm sure, I'm not too sure what torque setting it needs to be. So yeah, something that I'll need to check out when I stop. And I'll also need to check out the oil levels, because the 1.8 litre from the Fiat Punto does have a bit of history of chewing through oil, and also I had that impressive oil leak because I hadn't tightened something correctly enough. So I'm sure it's going to need a top up regardless. Interesting, okay. So I'm seeing the revs kind of shoot down when I stop. Not too sure what's the cause of that. That seems to be a new thing. Maybe it needs to just relearn the fuel map. That's kind of what I'm hoping, but we're going to have to ultimately see what the cause of that is. And as I said, we're going to rescan the codes when we stop and see what else crops up, because ideally it'd be nice to get a clean bill of health ahead of the bigger drive to Festival Italia. It's Brands Hatch, I think it's about an hour and a half from where we are in Essex, so it's certainly going to be Project 40's longest drive thus far. It's with my family, so the stakes are high, ladies and gents. So I do want it to have a clean bill of health before we take it on that drive. There is every doubt in my mind about this vehicle on its first long drive. I think the longest I've driven it for is probably about 40 minutes, half an hour, back from Auto Alpha when it got the timing belt changed. I mean, it didn't have any issues then, and that's with the DUF O2 sensor. So I think it should be fine, but again, there's nothing as stressful as that first long distance drive in a new vehicle. Every squeak, rattle, pop, bing, bong, you name it, you're always hyper focused on it. So even if they're just perfectly normal noises. And don't forget, this is obviously a 20-year-old car. It's had 10 previous owners, so it's definitely going to be a bit rattly. But as long as it doesn't break down, I think that's the important thing, because that would spoil the day somewhat. Because of course, we are going to be displaying this in the Fiat Forum Owners Club area. First time I've ever displayed a vehicle, and what a vehicle it is, ladies and gents. This fine Italian thoroughbred is worthy of being displayed on a stand. It is mostly one colour. It is in reasonable condition, and I think that meets all of the criteria to be shown at such a historic venue such as Brands Hatch. Alright, well, we are up to temperature, so I assume that's a good thing. We'll take this on some faster roads in a bit on my classic test drive route I tend to use for all of my vehicles. I'm wearing my racing Crocs today because it is far too hot for socks. Definitely noticing a rattle from the stereo, so I need to make sure I may get some sort of sponge or something, some foam, just to help dampen down those rattles, because I could see that getting annoying on a long drive. As we continue through SUV utopia in the suburban roads of sunny Southend. Oh yeah, that's really rattly. But that is a minor thing to fix. So we are 15 minutes in, ladies and gents, and so far no check engine light, which is great news. We're now going to hit some faster roads, so if there's a problem, that is going to be apparent on this section. Oh, it's nice to have finally some good weather, because the weather here has been absolutely sodden. Super wet, super damp, which has made it quite difficult to actually do anything, A, recording wise, but also B, actually do any repair work on the car because it's been so wet. But luckily the weather has turned, and so it's been possible to actually get some footage sorted, but also more importantly get that O2 sensor changed. Alright, so we are coming into a national speed limit section. Let's see how these 130 tired Italian ponies sound. So dropping it into third. Foot to the floor. It's alright, sounding pretty good. I can't wait to get a new back box on this thing. For sure, I know I'm going to be a little bit down on power, as that at least on the exterior of the exhaust box of the back box, it's starting to delaminate, so God knows what's happening on the side. Probably nothing good. It is original. I've gone for like OEM Plus for the replacement, because the standard fit exhaust doesn't look particularly good. Whoa. It's a fun little sounding car, this one, I have to say. I think we can definitely do something with the intake and the exhaust note. But as I said, I want to try and keep this car as factory as possible, and any modifications be sympathetic modifications. There's a ton of stuff that I could do to make it faster, but I don't know if there's really the point of this car, and to make it as fast as possible. I know I can get cams from a 2-litre twin spark 156. I know they are pretty much a drop-in replacement, and I think you can get a supercharger kit for this as well, but I think that's a bit excessive, really, and I don't know how much extra power that would really gain. You know, I'm on the fence about it, if I'm honest, because it's going to take a lot of money to do that. I could see that it'd be, you know, between sort of £2,000 to sort of £5,000 to get that all sorted, and that's a lot of money to spend on a car with such a storied lineage as the HGT. Fingers crossed. I think we're going to be okay. I'm very sad that this van is turning right, because this is a fun road to drive down, but not when you're behind a Tornado Custom, even if it is a 2023 reg. Let's give them a bit of a gap, and then we can start to stretch the legs of Project 40. Now hopefully I should be able to get this video out before Festival Italia. That is the plan. So if you do intend on coming down to Brands Hatch and you see me, don't hesitate to reach out, because it would be, you know, I'm really looking forward to just seeing other cars, and certainly other Fiats. And I'm sure there's going to be plenty of things like Fiat 500s, 595s, coupes, etc. It'd be awesome if I see another HGT, although I don't really expect to, in all honesty. But it'd be fantastic if there is one there, because, you know, there has to be. I think there's 15 or 17 left. So odds are that someone might come in an HGT. I think we'll have to find out. Into a tight, nice little left-hander. Yeah, it's got a really interesting exhaust note. I wonder what we could do with that. Alright, we are half an hour into this thing and there are no check engine lights. But I will stop at the next convenient place and do a quick code check because not that I don't trust my repairs, but I just want to make sure that everything is clear. And there's no doubt in my mind that if one O2 sensor needs to be done, then the rest are probably on the way. So I've got the post-cat one on order that's been shipped out, and then I can always just order another one of the ones that are in the manifold from Euro Car Parts. So the other one I had to kind of get not imported, but yeah, I think it wasn't available via Euro Car Parts. The only one that was like a generic one, which you'd have to cut and then splice and all that sort of stuff. And considering when I actually looked at the parts guides, the post-cat one actually has a meter cable length, so it's quite a way to go. And so I thought, well, I might as well just get one that's actually proper than try and splice one in, because it actually seems like it'd be a massive hassle. All right, let's see what codes come back. Okay, well, let's clear these again. Maybe I replaced the wrong O2 sensor, or maybe I just need to replace more of them. I know what I could do. Is because if that O2 sensor that we've taken out is actually fine, I can swap it with the other one and see if that gets rid of the issue. Maybe? That could be a plan. Because I had to order in the other one from Euro Car Parts, and that took a couple of days, so it wouldn't happen in time for Festival Italia. That's something I could do though. I could swap. I could do some diagnostics. Look at me, I'm a real mechanic. Because I can swap, and if the issue goes away, then we knew that was that was the problem. And I'd save some money. Well, hey, look at me, I'm a responsible adult as well as being a mechanic. Who knew? Them again, and the O2 sensor hasn't cropped up again, so maybe that was an old code. I don't know. I didn't think it was, because we cleared them beforehand. So I'm going to call that a win. I think that works. The car certainly feels fine. It's pulling really well. The only thing we need to do is sort out that air conditioning. So I think that's next up on the list. And with that, I think we're at the end of this episode. If you watched this far, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you consider liking and subscribing. We're going to be going to Festival Italia on Sunday, so if you see me there, don't hesitate to reach out. It'd be great to talk to you in person. If not, I'll catch you down the road.